Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jake, and I want to talk to you about auto parts stores. I want to talk to you about what the auto parts industry has become in the last few years. Specifically speaking, big name brands that have been around a while, local stores, and family-owned organizations. It's not like it used to be. In some ways it's gotten better, in some ways it's gotten worse. You could thank garbage parts for some of it. You could thank young kids essentially walking into a name brand store, getting a shirt with their name on it, and automatically thinking that they're automotive parts specialists, when at a time, to be considered an auto parts specialist, you had to have some sort of a certification, specifically speaking, SAE certification. But local stores aren't what they used to be, and mom and pop stores aren't what they used to be. Textbook example is a local auto parts store in my area who looks like it's stuck in 1987. It's dirty. It's playing the same garbage music that's been played over and over and over again. The roof leaks. The windows are dirty. There's about 75 spider webs in the windows. You can't even get the floors taken care of. But they're open every day. And there's always people out in front. And you wonder why they don't do anything about it. You wonder why they don't change anything. You've got a Napa not that far away. You've got a few other auto parts stores, mostly chain brands, in the local areas. And there's a reason why people go to those instead of going to local places. First of all, the parts are cheaper. Second of all, you got people in uniform, and all the uniforms seem to match. And you got name tags. And I don't care how old you are, but if you know what you're doing, that's great. But they're bright, they're clean, they're not playing classic rock over and over and over again. And usually if they don't have what you're looking for in stock, they can get it in a relatively short amount of time. And it's not that big of a deal. See, when you cater to a wide variety of people with a wide variety of different type of vehicles, and I'm not just talking about cars and trucks and SUVs, I'm talking about marine, I'm talking about hydraulics, I'm talking about heavy truck. You have to have everything in stock. And let's face it, that's just not going to happen. Marine is a whole separate thing in itself. I personally find marine to be nothing short of laughable. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that you go to a marina to buy an item, say an oil filter or a spark plug or an alternator for your boat, and you're going to pay through the nose because you have to. Yet you walk into a local store that also happens to have a marine department, and a lot of customers will freak out because you don't have what they're looking for, even though they can't tell you exactly what they're looking for simply because they don't have an accurate year, make, and model of the boat. And there's really not that easy of a way to looking it up. Excuse me. Other points are when you have heavy items in stock, heavy truck items in stock, and you get a lot of contractors, you get a lot of construction guys, you get a lot of bigger vehicles, and that in itself is a complete issue. But let's bring it back down a little bit. Let's look at where the actual problems are. And there's several. First, garbage parts. All right? There are some companies out there selling brake calipers and suspension parts that are nothing short of ridiculous. I'm not going to name specific brands. You all know who you are. Okay? Anytime I try to tighten up a bleeder valve and only to find that the screw itself is all stripped out, that's a pretty bad indication. Anytime I've got a car coming back to my shop with less than 500 miles on a brand new caliper that is now locked up, which means not only do I have to change the caliper, but I have to redo the pads and that burnt up rotor, that's a bit of a problem. And again, you all know who you are. Let's talk about lack of any sort of unified inventory. Let's be honest here. It doesn't take a Phi Beta Kappa to figure this out. If you don't have the item in stock, guess what? You can't sell it. And yet you have people working in these auto parts stores that have no idea what the alphabet is, no idea what our numbering system is. And I'm not talking about maybe there's a language issue or something along those lines. I'm talking about just not being able to figure out that a 55085 comes after a 55084. Yeah, that's simple, folks, and I can't get that taken care of. That's a problem. Inventory is essential because it directly results in the outcome of your gross profit percentage. If I don't have it in store A and I have to call store B to pick it up from them, now I have to send a driver and they have to send a driver. I have to hope that their inventory is correct. I have to hope that their driver pulls it properly. And I have to make sure that my driver picks it up properly. Yeah, that's a problem too. We'll get to that later on, maybe. Anytime I have to have extra people involved in a simple process of sending ABC Tire down the street, a part that I don't have currently in my stock, I run the risk of losing gross profit. And I personally am not of the mindset to give away the store to every Tom, Dick, and Harry who walks in the place. I'm here to make money. Okay? And I can't make the money that I want to make working at a specific auto parts store because other people in the organization are going to be too busy catering to the customer. Now, I can hear you all now saying, what the hell are you talking about? You don't have a business degree. And isn't the customer always right? This has nothing to do with whether the customer is right or not. This has to deal with the fact that not everybody who walks in my store deserves rock bottom prices all the time. That's kind of something you have to earn. Repeat customer that's always coming in, always buying stuff, always doesn't give us a hard time, knows what he wants, not a problem at all. But I have a problem with giving a rock bottom price simply because they went to school with the owner. Absolutely insane and ridiculous. The stores need to change, and I don't see any sort of change happening. It's a problem. Customers want to come in, and they want to feel let me rephrase that. They want to feel not only welcome, of course, and you want to put forth a professional attitude, but they want to be confident. That's the word I was looking for. Confident in what they're doing in your store. They made a choice. They could have gone someplace else, or they could have just dropped off the car at a local shop and have them taking care of it. They came in, made the choice to deal with you. Not everybody is an automotive engineer. Not everybody knows how to change an alternator or a set of wiper blades or a transmission mount or a set of calipers. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to have to show them that you know more than they do, just so that you build up a confidence in the transaction. And yet when you have a counter person behind the counter who, when asked by a customer, how does this particular part work? Or how do I install this part easily? And they tell the customer, I honestly don't know. I don't work on cars. Heck, I don't even like cars. Well, any confidence that you established initially, having that customer standing in front of that counter of yours while you're on the other end, the confidence level goes right out the window. And now this customer is going to leave wondering if he made the right choice. That's unacceptable. That is absolutely unacceptable. Auto parts stores need to improve. And if you want to run on out and open up another store because you already have a few and you want another one, that's fine. But maybe make a good choice in the store that you want to open. You've heard the old adage that the first rule of real estate is location, location, location. Well, the exact same thing applies to any business, not just auto parts. It's your location. There's also a wise line that goes, you do your best business on Main Street. Well, if you're not going to be on a main street, or you're going to have a small store surrounded by 4 other larger competitors, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to do a damn thing. That's just the way it is. If you want to go off and open up another store, that's fine. But maybe make sure you've got the logistics intact to handle that large store. Don't shut down a decent running medium-sized store to open up another one in another area that has a completely different demographic, only to find out that you're absolutely hemorrhaging money every single time you put your key in the door 8 o'clock in the morning. More importantly, maybe again have other aspects of your business ready to go so it can be handled. Don't go off and open up another store if your main flagship store in one location, the store that has all the walk-in volume, has a leaky roof, or again, dirty windows, or doesn't have the ability to get its carpets taken care of in a timely manner. That's ridiculous. And there's no reason why anybody working in that type of an environment should have to put up with that, regardless of what the salary may be. Maybe have people who are trained to do certain aspects of the business to make the business better. The general manager, or more importantly, the store manager, can't do it all and sometimes needs a little bit of assistance. But if you're not going to have any sort of an incentive in terms of benefits or salary or advancement or promotions, well, then what's the point? You want me to put forth an extra effort. You want me to put the company first. You want me to do the best I can to help the company grow and succeed. But if my salary is going to be diddly squat and you're not going to offer me anything to benefit me, well, then why should I bother? For example, and you know who you are, why did I have to wait 16 months just for a shirt that I never got? Okay, there's a reason why people are going elsewhere if you've got a shoddy product or you've got a shoddy way of doing business. And you opening up another store is not going to solve any issues if you've got a whole bunch of other stores that can't get their act together. Specifically speaking, the aforementioned inventory. If you've got a warehouse and 3 other stores where their inventory is a suggestion at best, okay, and the way that they move parts around the warehouse is nothing short of a joke at best, well, how are you going to have the logistics to be able to handle another store? You're not. It's just not going to happen. You can do better. These stores need to do better. There's something to be said to going to your local auto parts store that's been family owned for 25, 30 years. Okay, because they're the ones that are usually stocked by people who know what they're doing. And they're usually stocked by people who know the local demographic, know the local citizens, and want to cater to them. But for crying out loud, if to keep a customer you have to keep a candy jar on the counter, you got a problem. If your customers are going to get nasty or get rude to you because you refuse to ignore 4 other customers that showed up first, and you refuse to ignore the ringing telephone, which is supposed to take priority, and that person walks out because you won't stop the world from rotating to deal with them, you know what? You don't need their business. And that's a childish way of having that person act. When you get a senior citizen who walks in the door, okay, doesn't even bother to say anything in terms of any sort of a greeting, takes a spark plug from a weed whacker out of his pocket, throws it on the counter, and doesn't say another word, and then gets pissed off and storms out because you don't have it in stock, because that's going to happen in life, you don't need that person's business. I can't believe every one of these auto parts stores are so desperate for money that they're going to risk the chance of not trying to lose a customer just because it's inconvenient. It's very, very simple. Okay? If you can't have a customer walk in and tell you what they want, well, how are you supposed to help them? And again, just like I just mentioned, there's going to be times when they're not going to have what the customer is looking for. It's not the end of the world. It's just a spark plug for a weed whacker. And there's a good possibility that another location may have it, or even another company may have it. Unfortunately, that's going to happen. But if you're going to get angry about it and storm out, do me a favor. Don't come back, because I don't want your business. Okay? Here's another tip. If you're going to walk into a local auto parts store and try to order something, don't do this. Don't take your credit card out and throw it on the counter and act like you're hot stuff. Okay? Because you're just not. Not here, not anywhere. You're just not. Your gross profit needs to go higher. And you're not going to get that by selling crappy parts and having to hunt all over Hacking Creation to get them because you don't have them available to you. You can do better.